Okay, we're going to start, folks. Morning, everyone. I hope you had a good weekend. So let's get started. How many people have started M1 already? Great, quite a few, so that's great. Just a quick tip, make sure that you're reading that you read the header file carefully. There are several corner cases mentioned in there that might not be covered in the public test, but anything that is mentioned in the header file is a fair game. So we guarantee you that we're gonna test it in the private test. So just make sure that you read it carefully. Any questions on M1 before we get started? Okay, that means it's going great, so I'm happy with that. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the non-technical side of working in a team, mainly about team formation, how to get along with your teammates, and project management, how to manage your team well, and what are the criteria to get a successful team at the end of the term. Whoops. Okay, so I think you saw this in APS 111, 112. So now that you're forming a team and getting going with working with your team members, basically you need to see what things make you a better team. So Bruce Tuckman, who is a psychology professor, basically modeled this 4 stages of working in a team, and they rhyme, so they are easy to remember. The first one is forming, which basically most of you are in this stage right now, where you're now getting to choose your teammates and getting to know each other. Second one is storming. Basically now you're figuring out who is doing what and what are the responsibilities of each team member. It is often contentious. Basically you're still not sure what are the strengths and weaknesses of every team member, so it needs a lot of discussion in order to know that. Next stage is called norming. Basically now the members understand each other, they kind of getting used to each other, and they are holding themselves accountable for their own roles in the team. And finally is the performing. Not all teams basically get to this, but performing is now, it's not just that you have a set of criteria and you're trying to follow them, or have a set of norms that you put yourself, you're following them. With performing, you're basically seeking to be a better team. You're always looking for ways to perform better as a team, not as an individual. So you're like, hey, I don't think this is working well. Can we do something here? Maybe we can change the way we do our status meeting. Maybe we can have a better code style here and there. So you're always in a state of open discussion with your teammates and high trust, so that you are free to talk whatever you want or whatever is in your mind, and you trust that your teammates will take it in the spirit that it is. No one is getting defensive, and it's basically for the sake of the team. You're just trying to make your team better. Okay, not all team will get there. Hopefully some of you will be in this stage, but basically you are right here, okay? So most of you probably right here right now. By the end of that, we need to get quickly to at least the norming stage. Why quickly? Because this is only like a 4-month semester project, and you basically need to get going and getting used to your teammates as quick as possible in order to basically perform well on this project. One of the reasons I'm showing you this is that it is probably comforting to know that having a little amount of chaos or conflict or confusion within the team is normal. Almost every single team will go through this. Your goal is to basically try to get yourself to the norming stage. So minimize these conflicts or confusions as much as possible by having open discussions with your team members, by trusting your team members and knowing each one who is doing what, and being accountable of your own tasks. Okay, in the industry, for example, every single manager will probably try to get his team to the performing stage, at least to the norming stage within the first 2-3 months. If that doesn't happen, then there is definitely a problem, and almost always something is going to change in the organizational level. Maybe the team will get disbanded, maybe basically the manager will be changed, something that will happen. Okay. How many people remember this from APS 111? Great, okay, so it's not something new. Okay, so how do we get to the norming or performing stage? Now, again, you are in the forming stage, you got to know your team members, now you registered your teams. We wanna basically help our team members get to there. Any ideas? Basically, any basic idea how to trust your team members more? A07, go ahead.
Listing out expectations.
Listing out expectations. Is there something more basic than that? Like, that's a good suggestion though. Like basically now we want to know the expectation of each team member. But before that, even before that, let's say that you just got put into a team that you don't know who the people you're working with are. Oops, there you go now. So the most basic thing is basically getting to know each other outside the academic level. So maybe go have a lunch outside the university to get to your team to know your team members. Oops. Yeah. So meet or work together. The best thing is to basically do it in person. Maybe work in a lab, have a lunch somewhere. Sometimes that might not be possible due to unforeseen circumstances. So the second best thing is to basically plan and meet over Zoom, for example. But at least to get to know each other, like make sure that you know who each person that you are working with, not just on academic level, maybe a little bit more on a personal level so that you get to build the trust or confidence. In the industry, for example, every single company will hold like what we call team building activities. So that the first time that someone joins or the first time that a new team forms, we go to do some kind of activity outside work, like a bowling game or something like that, just to get things going within the team members and like try to build this confidence, this trust between them. Okay, so this is like kind of intuitive. It's a human trait, basically. Spending time together builds trust. Like it will always lead to something meaningful. Sometimes you find out that you probably don't click with these people, so you might find issues that you need to work on as a team. Okay, but after that, as your team, as your peer said here, basically now we want to set expectations, set deadlines, set who is doing what, and that's where you go now from the forming to the storming and norming stages. Okay, so this is an interesting story from the New York Times. I think Professor Chong alluded to it early in the course. So Google is a very data-driven company. They like to quantify things and build metrics about almost everything. So there is this study, I put the link here basically if you are interested in reading it, that wanted to study the teams and find out who are the teams that, or what are the characteristics of the teams that perform better than others. Okay, and it was a long story, like almost a year long or a year and a half long study, and they found out that teams did all kinds of things. Even if they are performing at a high level, they couldn't find a lot of the commonalities between them. Some teams basically went more to be like friendly with each other. Some teams like kept it just professional and just meeting each other only during the status update meetings, for example, and not meeting outside work, for example. So they couldn't find any pattern that actually led to a good result of the study. But almost all teams that they found performed well had two main characteristics. One is equal speaking. By this we mean that every one of the team members had roughly the same amount of speaking. And this basically led the team members not feeling left out or having being engaged in the team. Okay, so everyone is feeling valued. Everyone can say whatever they think. Sometimes it might not be a good idea, whatever they suggested, but at least now they are getting to propose things that the teammates know about. The second thing, on average, they basically had higher social sensitivity. What do we mean by that? Basically, those teams were able to have or had the ability to basically read whatever their other team members are thinking. Maybe like some team members are shy and feeling left out, but they couldn't express it. Those team members were able to see that and trying to encourage their teammates to speak up or to basically have something to say and not feeling left out. So these were the two main things that basically Google found out in their most performing teams. Do you think that's enough though? Do you think it's just enough to have equal speaking and basically high social sensitivity? Is there anything that needs to, the team as a collective have to basically perform better? Any suggestions? There is no right or wrong answer. Maybe, yeah, you say that this is enough. It's just, we're trying to come up with ideas here. So there is one thing that Google didn't mention in the article, but I think it's kind of implicit in Google, is that everyone had high performance expectations. I think part of the culture at Google, if you know someone working there, is that the review process is very thorough. So when they try to hire candidates, they go through like several stages of interviews, and they have a performance reviews, regular performance reviews every 6 or 12 months. So the employees implicitly have this culture where they always have high expectations. So the team as a collective, when it forms, everyone, even the well-performing teams, have this expectation of performing at a high level at the end of the project, for example. And I think this is a key requirement of making a good team. It's not just about having this expectation. It's basically every one of the team members, we know that I can trust that every one of my teammates has that drive to basically perform better. Maybe we're going through hurdles that won't allow us to perform as we expected. That's fine. So things happen anyway. We always have challenges. But as long as we have the drive and we trust each other, we have this equal speaking, then I think we are set on the right track to perform better at the end of the project. Okay. So we're gonna do like a 2-3 minute exercise. I want you to discuss with your teammates or whoever is sitting next to you. What are the top 3 characteristics that make a team effective? Again, there is no right or wrong answer. We just wanna like brainstorm ideas on what makes a good team. Okay. I think before we start, I think this is really important, even not just now, even in your careers, because you're going to meet a lot of people that you don't know outside work, that you have to work with them. So we want to basically set you on a path that to know, okay, how should I perform well in a team? So take this seriously and try to think about it, please. So let's see. I heard a lot of, oops, can everyone hear me? Yeah. So I heard a lot of good suggestions out there. I want you now to buzz in and mention a couple of those. Let's discuss them at a wide level. And again, there is no right or wrong answer. We just want to think about what makes a team effective. So to put us on a good track to get, oops, why is this not working? Yeah. Yeah, anyone wants to try? B10, just a second. Go ahead.
One of the things we said was,
yeah, go ahead.
One of the things we said was that the entire team needs to be in sync as to what the goal is for the given milestone for the entire semester. Like if you ask each team member what their commander's intent is, they should be saying the same, if not similar things. Okay,
so basically in sync. So your friend is saying that probably everyone needs to know the expectation of the team, what everyone needs to do, and where we stand right now in terms of the project deadlines. So we are always meeting and basically discussing where we are right now. That's a good suggestion. Anything else? What do you think? Top three.
Top three. Similar personal expectations for all the team members.
Okay, so but that probably goes within the being in sync. Like everyone knows what they are doing in their team. It's fine if you don't know. So.
We only discussed them.
Anyone else? No? Okay, so the characteristics that I see basically, or are my top four, are, some of you suggested actually this, having open discussions. Basically, we will always tell it like it is. We won't hide anything from our team members. If we think that something is not working well, let's work on it. Let's discuss it first, okay? We don't want things to fester. We don't want things to drag, but we just want to say things that we think our teammates are not doing well, and we want to work on it. We are not, but we have in this. We have to be careful to choose our own, to choose our words carefully, so that our teammates don't get defensive. As long as we have this trust that our teammates will take things in the spirit of what they are, and not get defensive, I think we set ourselves to succeed by basically being able to say anything that we think that is affecting the team. Okay, we're trying to be constructive. We are trying to work on our weaknesses. Everyone knows what their weaknesses are, and as a team, I think that helps the collective to basically do better. Okay, so for example, probably at the end of the project, I will hear from a lot of students that, oh, Bob didn't do this, and I need his grades because he affected our project. And I always tell them that basically, you might be right, but did you go to talk to your teammate or talk to Bob that 1, 2, 3, these things didn't work out, we need to work on them? I think having this open discussion first and at least trying to get better at this is very important, especially from a project management level. So maybe that won't affect your technical grade, but having this open discussion will definitely be, you will definitely be evaluated on in your project management mark. Okay. The second one, I think, that's really important is accountability. What do we mean by that? Basically, everyone takes responsibility for their part of the project. If there are mistakes, don't hide them. Don't try to basically hide a bug that will later bite you in the future milestones. If you see there is a mistake, try to fix it. Try to tell your teammates that, okay, I know this bug that we need to work on. Even if you found a bug that is not related to your work, mention it to the team. Say that, I think Alex, for example, did this wrong, and we need to fix it before the deadline. Always make everyone accountable, and you be accountable of your own mistakes as well. And the third one, I think this goes with the accountability, is the transparency. What do I mean by that? Basically, if you are behind or some of your code is not working, say so clearly. Like this is also part of the accountability. Basically say that, hey guys, I'm late on my deadline. I know we set the deadline to be to finish my task on milestone 1 by this Friday, but something happened or something came up that I couldn't finish it. I am working on it though. I'll update the deadline and hopefully get it by this date, for example. Don't hide, don't evade, don't like ghost your teammates, for example, saying that I'm not gonna reply, maybe they will work on it. No, be transparent, be direct to what you should do and what you missed, for example. And the last one, also I think this is a collection of all of the above, is trust. Do we trust our teammates that they are doing the right thing? Do we trust their teammates that they are being transparent with us, that there is nothing hidden? I think this is a really important criterion to build from the start to have the team succeed at the end. Okay, do we trust that if we say something in this team that no one is gonna get offended? All of this, again, it's a collection of all of the above, but trust is really important. Okay. So now we've talked about what makes a good team. In this course, we're going to practice it because you'll definitely have to follow these criteria in your career, in your industry career, or whatever you do after graduation. So in this course, we are basically training you to do this. And we're going to do this by meeting your CI and TA every week. A CI is going to be like a mentor who is non-technical. Basically, they want to set you on a path where you have this great team dynamics at the end of the semester. Your TA is basically kind of your technical project manager, and they know all the technical details, but they will also evaluate you on how you work as a team, because they want to see that you are reporting your findings to your superiors in a good way. This is how you're gonna do it when you have a manager, or when you basically want to show the results or your proposals to the upper management in the industry. Okay, so we're going to do this as on a weekly manner, where you will meet your CI and TA in the lab or tutorial, whatever, and you will report your status in a written format. There are several tools to actually report your status. It's just a short summary of what you did or what you are expected to do. In this course, we are using the wiki. There are several other tools to do this. You're free to use whatever you want, but as long as everything exists, is reachable from the wiki, that's fine. We want to apply the characteristics that we talked about right now about having a good team by basically showing transparency and accountability, making sure that everyone knows what they are doing on the wiki, even your managers or your mentors know what each team member is doing, and that you set out deadlines for each team member to basically finish certain tasks in the milestone. You don't have to be detailed. Feel free to add sub-pages to basically add like detailed bugs or detailed status to your, that you can discuss within your team members. But when you meet with your CI or TA, make things concise. They just want to see basically, okay, person X is doing this, person Y is doing that, and they should finish it by this Monday, for example. And maybe add also like a metric to show that, are you on track, are you falling behind, or have you basically finished all of these already and you're working on the next thing, okay? If something is not working out in the team, try to leverage your CIs and TAs. They are your mentors at the end of the day. They are not your enemy. They will help you. Their experience is valuable. So ask them any questions if you have. Okay. So, yeah, this is just a summary of what I just said. Basically, the team wiki, what it should have, it should contain basically a memory of or a to-do list of what you have, of what is next. So we want the key data. What are the target dates of each task? Who is owning each task, and who is it delayed? If it's delayed, what is the how are you resolving this? Like, are you reassigning this to someone else? Are you taking it on your own, taking on yourself to finish it, etc. okay? I think every one of you should have received the email to sign up on the wiki. If you haven't, please let me know or post it on Piazza. There is a quick start guide on Quarkus to show you how to do different things on the wiki, like how to, for example, write a table, how to create sub-pages, etc. Okay, so let's discuss this together. I want you to look at this sample wiki, basically from, this is a bit old, but tell me whether this is a good, forms a good wiki update or a status update or not. What do you guys think? Beaton, you're gonna get a chocolate bar. You're gonna get a chocolate bar because you keep answering questions.
I was gonna say that, so they say that they want to finish it by January 28th.
Sorry, can you speak in the mic? Yeah.
They say they want to finish it by the 28th and then test until the 1st, but there's no concrete plan together. There's no division of which team members responsible for working on what.
Okay.
And then, so there's like, it's not split up either.
So it's not clear, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Basically, I do see that, okay, this team is going to finish this milestone by whatever date, but it's not clear who is doing what. It's not clear what the task breakdown is and whether we are falling behind or not, right? Whether are we are we going to meet the target or not? So probably this is not a good wiki, and it will probably get a bad grade in terms of project management. Okay, what about try number 2? Now, is this better or no? Does it still have anything that is missing? Any idea? I'm going to pick on you guys. Let's try ECE297. You. Yeah. What do you think? Is this a good wiki or not? Sorry, speak louder in the mic. Why is it not? Sorry, can you speak in the mic? Yeah. Oh, you don't have one. Okay, it's fine. I'll try to hear you. Too much information in a short space. So it's not well organized, basically, you're saying. Okay, yeah, that's a good remark. Basically, I do see who's doing what right now. I do see target deadlines for each team members, what each one is doing, but it might be too cluttery, right? So it's probably gonna get a good mark because it meets the requirements that what we expect from a status update, but it makes it a little bit difficult for your manager to get the just looking at it. So it's a bit cluttery. Can we do better? So here is an example where basically now the same information that is in the previous page, now it is more concise and it's better organized. We just changed the visualization of how the data is appearing on the wiki by just putting it in a table. In this case, you can see that, okay, me, for example, I am doing this, Alan is doing that, and Sarah is doing basically trying to revamp the navigation buttons on milestone 2. And everyone has a completion date, okay? So are we on target or not? So there is a due date and there is a completion date. So for example, this also shows that, okay, I'm falling behind, and this encourages the open discussion that we were talking about. Okay, my teammates are going to tell me, you are falling behind. Do you have any idea how to resolve this? Are we going to meet the deadline for this milestone? What should we do? Can we help with this? Can you, do you think you can finish it? And that encourages the open discussion so that when you meet your CI or TA, they know that your teammate is falling behind, but we are aware of it, and we are working on it as a team. Okay, so it has the measurable milestones, it has honors, it has the target dates. The table organizes the status, so again, it's more visually appealing to the reader, and it's very concise that they can get the gist of what is happening within the team immediately. Okay. And yeah, possible performance problems, it shows them basically some people are falling behind, some people have already completed their tasks, so some teammates are exceeding the expectations and some maybe they need to work on their technical skills a bit more. Okay, so that's about it in terms of how to basically report your findings or what makes a good team that we're going to cover in this course, especially the wiki. And now I'm gonna talk about a higher level or a more abstract idea of what project management is, or what makes a good project management. Okay, so part of what I just showed you is how to assign tasks to people and how task breakdown and due dates is kind of project management, but usually there are two schools of thoughts of how or people often talk about or how typically teams perform as a project management level. So the first one is called waterfall development. I don't know if you've seen this in previous courses, but basically what this entails is that everything needs upfront planning. So you first build the requirements of what your project should do. You meet, for example, with your clients or your upper management or the product team saying that, oh, these clients need to this feature and we currently don't have it, we need to work on it, okay? So once you set out all the requirements for your product, now you go to the design phase where you basically sit with your teammates and try to come up with a proposal on how to approach this and what kind of details that we need to make it work. Then we go to implementation, and once the implementation is done and make sure, we basically test it to make sure that it is meeting the requirements that we set out and verify that everything is working fine, there are no bugs or no issues. And then once that is done, we deploy it, and it's basically now in a maintenance phase. What do we mean by that? Basically, we are just here to support if their clients report any bugs or any issues in it. So the idea is that at the early stages of this process, if you want to make significant changes to the product, it's very easy to do, and it's very cheap to do because now you don't have any implementation. But as you go deeper in this process, it's gonna be much more expensive, and it might cost basically companies billions of dollars to change something later on, okay? So the second school of thought is what we call iterative or agile development. So we have an idea of what needs to be done, maybe not a concrete idea yet. So we don't have the full requirements, we don't have all the features that are needed to be built, but we have this idea that we want to apply. So we try to implement it quickly and come up with a quick implementation, what we call a prototype, which is just an initial implementation of the idea that we have. And the initial implementation might, at the end of the day, be enough if the user likes it. It might not be, and then we have to reiterate on it. So we build the prototype, we test it and evaluate it by testing it internally, or we can also deploy it and make it public to the customer. And then we'll take feedback from the customers or from the users. Is it seamless or is it easy to use? Are there any major bugs that you see in it? Are there any missing features that we haven't covered yet? Okay, what can we do better? And then we refine. By refining, basically, we iteratively work out again on the new features that need to be added or whatever bugs that need to be solved. And again, we enhance the prototype and make it a full product at the end. Okay, so in this process, you do some planning, but not as detailed as in the waterfall development approach. Basically, we learn, in this approach, we are trying to learn from our mistakes and iteratively or quickly try to resolve them. Okay, so let's take another couple of minutes to think about what are the strengths and weaknesses of each approach. Are there any positives or negatives from each one, and which one would you prefer to use? Okay. Okay, so yeah, I think like from the suggestion I've heard, most of you had the right or like had the same thinking that in waterfall development, the strengths are basically it is efficient if you plan it really well and if you have all of the details planned out from the upfront. The problem is that it is very hard to actually plan everything, and we probably will miss something throughout the design process. So that's why Agile might be more beneficial in this case, because people have learned throughout the years that planning is really difficult, while learning from our mistakes is much easier. So we can quickly learn that, there was this bug or this mistake, we can iteratively and quickly solve it. One of the actually also major weaknesses of the waterfall development is what we call planning paralysis. So we probably think that, okay, we've planned everything, and if we miss something and discovered it at the end of the design, at the end of the process, remember that it's very expensive to change. So there are a lot of companies who lost billions of dollars because they discovered the issues really late in the design. So probably 15, 20 years ago, in software development, the waterfall development was the most dominant approach. But people learned that, okay, it's very hard to plan software from the beginning, and while it's very easy to iterate and fix bugs. So now it's more common to do the agile approach. Probably every single software industry follows it. There is a popular book about this called The Cathedral and the Bazaar. Basically, this is trying to represent the both approaches. The cathedral is a more organized, well-planned structure of having people in a community, while the bazaar is a chaotic marketplace where people try to buy and sell things. And the book argues that it is more efficient to have people gatherings in the bazaar than in the cathedral because it makes discussions more easy. And and this also applies basically to the project developments or management. It's not it doesn't just apply in software. It's actually now seeping through like a lot of other industries, like in hardware. Even though in hardware, if you find a major bug in your chip at the end of the design process, there is a software support for it that we can hide this bug and release it to the client. So we can always learn that, okay, we know that there is this bug, probably in the future architecture, we're gonna solve it, but for now we can have our, we can solve it quickly and not, and release it to the customer. So in this way we don't lose, creating a chip might cost like millions or billions of dollars, but we will not lose that much money even if we find issues. Okay. There are other industries, for example, has anyone heard of Nupedia before? Yeah, probably not. So Nupedia was created by the same authors who created Wikipedia. I'm pretty sure that most of you know what Wikipedia is. It's an open source encyclopedia where a lot of people basically who are volunteers, they come and write stuff about certain subjects in certain fields. Even though they are not experts. It's still a little bit peer reviewed to make sure that the information is correct, but basically anyone can go and volunteer to write stuff. While Nupedia, the authors thought that this will actually be the more successful one, they only allowed people who are experts in each field to write about the topics, okay? By the time Wikipedia had like thousands of pages about different things, Nupedia had only around 50 pages. So it actually died, this project died because no one actually used it, and it was very slow to release to the outside world. It's also starting to spread into other industries like the rocket industries, for example. So I'm pretty sure you've heard of SpaceX, which is basically a rocket industry that tries to deploy satellites in the outer space, co-founded by Elon Musk. And this video is showing here, I think we have time to show it. Yeah. It basically shows you a lot of their, how they are learning from their mistakes. So one of the major breakthroughs that was made by SpaceX last year is how to reuse the rockets and land it safely without it exploding. This video basically shows you all of their attempts throughout the years on how to do this. If NASA did this, basically people will watch it and say, oh, there goes billions of dollars worth of taxpayer money down the drain. And it's gone. Basically, they will have to rebuild things. While what SpaceX does, it's an agile approach. They optimize their manufacturing process to come up with prototypes that are much faster and less costly so that they don't lose money and they are learning from their mistakes. So after all of these attempts, last year, basically, they had this major breakthrough, and this will basically make it much more, much cheaper to deploy satellites in outer space. Whoops. I can't click on it. I can't forward it, but anyway. Okay, so we're not going to watch all of it just for the sake of time, but anyway. Yeah, and this also applies for startups. There is this article by Harvard Business Review on why the lean startups changes everything. What do we mean by lean startups? So in the old days, startups were basically, the way they formed, they had a business plan, a concrete business plan, which is like hundreds of pages, and they had a design and implementation of what they are trying to achieve. They go present this to the whatever investor, and then they try to convince them why they should invest in them, right? And after that, they start the implementation and try to refine their product. Now, this might be a good approach, but the problem is that it's very slow, and it will take years before the actual product comes out. And you might not find a lot of investors who are convinced to invest in you from the beginning. In the lean startup or the agile way, we basically, maybe two members like who have entrepreneurial spirit, they say that, okay, I have this initial idea, I'm gonna build a quick prototype before telling anyone, just a quick implementation of this idea. And then you start applying it to some users, like some of your friends, whatever, peers, family. And you see that, okay, there is a demand out of this, and then you go try to find investors. But once you have this prototype and that you can actually show a product to the investors, you'll probably get more investors, more seed funding. And this is what's happening in every single startup these days, okay? So once you get the funding, the startup starts getting bigger. You now have enough money to hire more engineers and refine your product well, okay? This actually also happened, for example, in Cerebras, where I work. For the first 3 years, we had our software stack working, and it was actually a really good software, and we thought that this is the best idea that we can do. After 3 years, we found out, okay, we are not able to scale up to the size of the models that the industry wants us to support, because in AI, AI is changing every single day while we are not able to keep up with them. So we had to revamp our whole software stack. We had actually to start from scratch, come up with a better design, and iteratively right now we are basically fixing issues and adding more features. Right now we are basically able to compete on the NVIDIA because we iteratively and we quickly were able to adapt to this. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about is something called disagree and commit. So Jeff Bezos, who is the CEO of Amazon, in 2016 in his letter to the shareholders, he basically talked about the company's philosophy, that we follow an approach called disagree and commit. What do we mean by that? Is that we allow everyone to express their opinions openly, even though they might not be good ideas. But as long as everyone has the chance to speak up, we can discuss among ourselves that, okay, maybe these are good approaches, let's try them. And they build an initial prototype of probably some of those ideas, let's say 50% of them. And after that, they meet and they see that, okay, did this approach work or not? If it's not, then they just throw it away. If yes, they commit it and they try to make it into a bigger product. So why do you think this is a good idea? It's basically, it's very hard to find consensus or like 100% agreement on every single approach. If that's the case, we'll probably wait years until a product comes out. So if we have multiple ideas and some of them agree on this, some of them agree on other, we can try all of them and see which works. And this is what Amazon does, and it's one of the most successful companies in the software companies in the industry. Okay. So I hope this gives you an idea of why project management is important. Although it's not technical, it is still part of how to make your product succeed, because at the end of the day, even if you meet all of the engineering features that it needs, if you don't have, if you can't convince the customers to use it, it's probably not gonna be useful. Okay, so this graph is just to show you that why do we divide our project here in milestones? Why don't we just try to have an initial plan, initial working version of the map? Well, it might be a good idea to just have an initial prototype, but sometimes it's really hard when the scale of the project is that big. So if I can tell you, okay, I want you to show me by next week a visualized graph of a map. You probably tell me, like, you're crazy, I can't do that. So that's why we divide it into milestones. This graph shows you that if you divide your project into a set of different milestones, where each milestone focuses on one part of the project, you will probably get to 100% completion by the end of the project and meet all the features that you need. If you don't do that, you will probably get something working by the end, but it will probably take you time, and it won't meet all the features. You will probably lose marks in this course. So, and one thing beneficial from the milestones is that now each milestone is separate, but if you get to a later milestone and you found out, oh, there is an issue on one of these milestones, you can iteratively work on it, because you know what part it is, which milestone it is part of, and what mistake you did there. That's it.